of opposition. And the more that happens, the more that kind of crisis begins to occur.
Crisis! Revolutionary front!
Well, I think you force other people in the society to take sides.
Force other people in society to take sides.
You were talking about
take sides. Force other people in society to take sides. Take sides.
The man in the office or the man in the factory.
Man in the factory. Man in the factory.
Well, that's a very problem that he faces. The black movement naturally it starts with students, it moves into the community.
Starts with students.
Naturally, it starts with students, it moves into the community, and now black working people are carrying that liberation struggle into the factory. So there's a confrontation going on now in the office and factory between blacks and whites that is very sharp, and that makes the issue of race completely inescapable for the white working person. Now, he can go for George Wallace temporarily until he discovers that George Wallace is against unions, and George Wallace is a company man who has completely exploited working people in Alabama and has no program for the northern industrial working person. So that person who's used to a union and used to job security of some kind ultimately has no affinity with Wallace, because Wallace will, the more he supports Wallace, the more Wallace will bring on a crisis by weakening unionism in the North, by destroying everything that the New Deal established for these particular people. So they're getting it in that direction from the blacks. And on the other hand, they're getting it from the young people. Agnew, who's a perfect example of this kind of person, says, Daddy pays the bills for college and Castro gives him the tactics. That's absolutely the case, and it's, I have a lot of sympathy for what Agnew says, because I can understand how a working man slaves and he saves and he puts down $5,000 to put his kid through school, and the kid acts as if he doesn't know where the money came from, doesn't understand that his father worked overtime, and the kid now is seeking the benefits of civilization that his father's labor kind of created. So you have that tremendous crisis that has been brought on over the last, well, really during the whole post-war period, in which young people who are born with affluence no longer primarily seek money. They seek other things, they seek other values, and they confront the consumer morality of their parents very directly. So these people are put under a pressure that's not going to stop from two directions, from their own kids and from the blacks. And in addition, there's the pressure that's imposed by the United States having a worldwide military commitment to suppress social revolution, which costs $80 billion a year. That taxation comes out of these people in the offices and the factories, and they are not only asked to spend their money, but spend blood in fighting these wars like the war in Vietnam, which to them are pointless. These are not wars that are going to arouse the enthusiasm of a person in the office or in the factory. So he's caught in the grinding pressure of a system that eats up his tax dollars for the purposes of policing the world. And he's confronted at home on two sides by the blacks and by the students in a kind of permanent set of pressures. Now, I think that it's conceivable in the short run that the man in the office and the man in the factory will opt for order, for counter-revolution, for suppression.
Yeah,
and
what do you mean by orders?
well, that's why it's so important that we fight back, and why the victory of Vietnam over the United States is so important, because the lesson that you have to teach the man in the office and the man in the factory is that he cannot win. He cannot suppress blacks, no matter how hard he tries. He cannot destroy the Vietnamese or the Chinese, because if he tries to, it will mean his own destruction, because they are capable of winning on the military front. And he cannot suppress or smash his own children. He will try. He has a genocidal desire to wipe out people of color, and it may even come to pass that he will want to kill his own children. Members of a kind of decaying, declining society in the past have killed their own sons and daughters who went into the revolution. But we will see. That is a kind of distasteful, expensive, and bloody alternative to pursue. And the other alternative, if we can fight and survive, becomes much more desirable, it seems to me, to these people in the offices and the factories. And that is to do away with the military budget and redirect money to sort of ensuring the good life for everybody as much as technology permits. And that programmatic alternative, in fact, costs less than the present bloody counter-revolutionary course that these people are on. And we can make the society an absolute delight for everybody, and it would cost less than the present insane asylum that's been constructed costs. And the problem is that because of racism, because of a false conception of nationalism, because of a false conception of imperialist manhood, these people believe that the present society is the best on earth, although it's not in their interest. It's leading to their own destruction. So what you have to do is challenge them to a battle, and as they see that they cannot win the battle, I think that's the way their conception of their own interests will change. So you fight, and we're going to have a fight in this country. Blood is going to run all over this country. But you also have to have a conception of living together with your enemies, or most of your enemies, in the future. That's very different from the traditional idea of just kind of giving out propaganda to workers, or trying to go home and explain to your parents. I don't think that'll work. Words will not impress them right now. The only thing that will impress them is their failure. Their failure in Vietnam, their failure in the ghetto, their failure in the streets and around the universities. And the more that they see that the old system doesn't fit, doesn't work, is failing, then the potentialities for political conversion are possible to entertain. But first, subversion, then conversion.
Yeah, I think that it's a question of where you choose to die. I stayed in prison for a long time, you see, 9 years. And in that time, I know that the officials have murdered people in prison, and that they have had people murdered. See, I know this from my own experience.